So Motorola is on a phone launching spree this year, and this is yet another option under rupees 20,000, the new Moto G84. Now this phone is uniquely positioned, it's a design focused phone, and something else that was very surprising to me, RAM and storage. Of course, it's a different direction to take, especially for a brand like Motorola, but there's one thing that they've followed, and that's the Snapdragon 695. Anyway, what we'll do in this video is talk a little bit more about the phone, who should buy it, who should consider it, and who should not. So, if you're here for the very first time, I'm Ershad. You're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. The first thing that stands out on the G84 is its design. You've got the Pantone finish, Viva Magenta color, and a vegan leather back as well, something that was present on a more expensive Motorola Edge 40 as well. Under 20,000, we rarely ever see vegan leather finish, so it's actually a nice touch. And the good thing about this material is that it's anti-fingerprint and you really cannot see scratches as well. But the good things about the design do not stop there. I also like the fact that the camera module is the actual size that it should be, that houses two proper cameras, and it's tiny, it's nice, and it looks very, very premium, trust me. Now, if you're looking at buying the vegan leather variant, it's available in this color and another marshmallow blue color. The midnight blue color is actually made of PMMA. Now, what I also do like about the G84 is the fact that it's got flat sides, so it's really comfortable to hold and use as well. But more importantly, it's only 7.69 millimeters thick and weighs about 170 grams. Now, like I said, the in-hand feel is undoubtedly fantastic. You really don't need to use the case inside the box when you're using the phone either. And apart from that, Motorola has also upped the IP rating from IP52 to IP54 now. As for the ports and buttons situation, Motorola has you covered entirely. You've got a headphone jack at the bottom, Type-C port, stereo speakers, and you get a hybrid SIM slot as well. In fact, I do like the thin volume rocker and power button as well. Overall, if you ask me, the design of the phone, it's got all the functional elements and the looks to go along with it too. Now, if you tell somebody that this is a phone under rupees 20,000, they'll be like, hey, you're lying. But it actually is, because generally, this kind of design is available on phones way above rupees 20,000. You guys know that. Now, the display on the front is a flat panel. It's a 6.5-inch display Full HD Plus resolution. It's a POLED panel and 120Hz refresh rate is also available. The good thing about the display is that the bezels are also entirely slim, so you get a lot of screen estate too. Now, with the natural mode on, the color accuracy is also decent. You get a peak brightness of 1300 nits. There's NEG glass protection on the front too. And of course, since it's a 10-bit color panel, if you're watching videos, the experience is pretty good. But there's one problem, and that problem is actually a Snapdragon 695 problem. It is that it doesn't support HDR video playback. So you do not get HDR video playback on YouTube or Netflix, despite the fact that the display is HDR compliant. It's got HDR 10 plus support as well. Anyway, you've got a touch sampling rate of 240 Hz as well, so the touch response is pretty good. Nothing to really complain about over there. Now, since this is a POLED panel, you also get an optical in-display fingerprint scanner, which is very fast to unlock. There is no concern over there particularly. But I do have one concern, which is the fact that the haptic feedback is not very good. It's rattly and it's soft, primarily because it's a coin vibration motor and not an X-axis one. But if you're talking about closing out the multimedia experience on this phone is pretty good, especially with that stereo speaker setup with Dolby Atmos support. Take a listen to it for yourself. It sounds really, really good. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Snapdragon 695. Yes, you've got Snapdragon 695 inside the phone. A chip that I think is more suited for phones that cost 15,000-16,000 and not 20,000. But then Motorola is justifying it by offering only one variant, which is a 12GB and 256GB. Basically, that's LPDDR4X RAM and UFS 2.2 storage. So imagine if Motorola had actually made a 128GB variant, then it would be priced around the 15,000-16,000 price mark. And that's where this would have been the sweet spot for it, for Snapdragon 695 to exist. Anyway, we've spoken at length about Snapdragon 695. It's a very dependable processor. Even for gaming, it's actually pretty decent. You can play Call of Duty at very high graphics and very high frame rates, or high graphics and max frame rates, which is pretty good. And this phone doesn't throttle at all. The CPU throttle test that we ran gave us a very good CPU stability score. And apart from that, the Antutu score is also one of the best that we got with Snapdragon 695. So that's a good thing. So don't expect it to be a performance monster is one thing that I tell you. Anyway, it's very good with battery life though. The battery performance, especially with the 5000 mAh battery inside, is pretty good, and you get 33-watt charging as well. So it should charge your phone from 0 to 100 in about an hour, less than an hour actually. But one area where Motorola always nails it because of its telecom legacy is in its network capabilities, where you get support for 14 5G bands, including voice over NR, so that's definitely good. And apart from that, you get dual band Wi-Fi support and NFC as well, which is very good. Now talk about software, it's MyUX based on Android 13 and Motorola promises that you will get an assured update to Android 14. I would have liked 2 years of assured updates, but 1 year is what you get, and 3 years of security updates is what Motorola promises as well. But Motorola's MyUX software is one of my favorites, especially in this price category because it's very well tuned, it's very fast, it's very responsive, but it's got very useful features as well. And this is for the first time that a G series phone gets ready for, which means that you can connect your phone to a larger display and actually use it. Apart from that, you've also got your regulars like Moto Secure, Moto Gestures, all of that is there. So this does happen. So overall, it's a good, clean operating system experience, something that I genuinely like. Alright, let's talk about the camera. Just like the previous Moto G73, the G84 has a practical camera setup as well. So you get a 50MP primary camera and an 8MP ultra wide. This ultra wide doubles up as a macro shooter too. And you also get to use the ultra wide for depth sensing capabilities, and on the front you've got a 16MP selfie camera. Now what I did notice first thing when I took pictures with the G84 is that they're especially detailed and the colors are close to neutral as well. In fact, even the dynamic range was pretty surprisingly good, so that's something that Motorola seems to have worked on. But skin tones seem to be not that good because they seem a little muted right now. Hopefully an update will fix that problem. But one thing Motorola has nailed with the G84 is the low light performance, and the low light pictures actually look very, very good. And finally with the primary camera, because of Snapdragon 695, you do not get the option to shoot 4K 30fps videos. The max you can shoot is 1080p 60fps, and in that you do not get electronic image stabilization. But with 1080p 30fps, you do get stabilized footage, so I think that's better. However, one thing I noticed with the recording quality is the sound recording quality is absolutely good. Very, very good.
1080p 60 fps video recording on the Moto G84.
Now talking about ultra wide, pictures look detailed, but the HDR performance is not as good as the primary. So is the low light performance, it's not great. But generally ultra wide pictures, if you are shooting in daylight, it should be fine. Apart from that, the ultra wide can also shoot 1080p 30fps videos, but more importantly, it can shoot macro pictures that look like this. Selfies I actually liked. The selfies look good, the color reproduction is good. In fact, the skin tones are slightly better than the primary camera. So I think that is something that Motorola should port from the selfie camera to the primary camera. Low light selfies, however, are not that great. But with the selfie camera, you can shoot 1080p 30fps footage. I did notice some gelling effect with the EIS, and apart from that, some noise even when the lighting condition was good enough. Now, with respect to camera features, you get the Pro mode, and you also get the option to shoot dual video, which means that you can use the front and the back cameras at the same time to capture footage. And if you're wondering if it's got portrait video mode, that's not there, but there's an audio zoom feature. So if you zoom in to a subject while you're shooting video, then it zooms in the audio as well. Overall, with respect to cameras, I'd say it's a practical setup, but it needs a little bit more tuning to be the best cameras under 20,000. But it's definitely useful with respect to the ultra wide macro that you can do and the primary camera details in daylight and low light as well. Before I tell you who should buy the G84, let me tell you that if you're somebody who doesn't like the Snapdragon 695, then you can avoid this. However, a phone is not just its processor, and generally some people also buy the phone for looks, and this one does look good and it has great in-hand feel as well. The display quality is good despite the fact that you do not get HDR. It does look good, and apart from that, the camera performance is not too bad, the battery life is good, and the software experience, of course, that's one of the best things that is good about the G84. So overall, that would be my final verdict. If you want a good looking phone with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, decent camera performance, decent battery life, all of that, this does work. So what do you guys think of the G84? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, if you like the kind of content that we make, don't just come and see our content, support our work. Hit that subscribe button. Alright, until the next time, keep tracking and stay safe.